that's why they call it gang politics.
You know, I'm not because I'm not trying to trivialize the horrificness of gang violence and the cause of death and whatnot, but it's just like it's like medieval feudalism.
Um, yes, but more importantly, you know what I always say. You know what I always say.
Well,
Like
well, hold
it's
on. Well, like, what would you call these massive gangs, especially here in the state? Like they're like miniature kingdoms.
they are. But you know what
Thank
I
you.
think of it like. It's like high school.
Have a tater tot.
It's like high school in every sense of the word. You got a president, a vice president, all this stuff, and you got your people who's under these people who they kind of govern under.
Uh-huh.
This is what it is. I mean, you go to any system in any way of life, whether it's work has a hierarchy. Every business has some sort of hierarchy, whether it's big or small, it's a hierarchy. School has a hierarchy. It goes from the principal, vice principal, all the way down to your regular teachers. Then there's a school hierarchy, class president, vice president, all that stuff. And even though you're like, well, the class president doesn't have that much power, doesn't mean the hierarchy is not in place.
All right.
In this instance,
So
there's a hierarchy.
we
Even in
have,
the music business, there's a hierarchy.
we apologize for derailing. Now, why are we talking about Tupac's death all these years later?
Good question. So we're talking about Tupac's death because they actually went off and arrested somebody, arraigned him, because they know that he's connected to the killing. Now,
And how do they know this?
because they've been doing research and information ever since him and Biggie's death is one of the two things they've been kind of latching on to for years. Because everybody wants to know information.
LAPD?
Everybody. This is like
FBI,
the feds, IRS,
And
internal revenue.
they finally found a name to put the pin in.
Because everybody wants to have somebody to say like, oh, we got this dude because he's connected. He's not the shooter. I mean, let's start there.
his nephew,
Right, he's not the shooter. He knows the shooter, but they're gonna get him. They're gonna put everything on him, but he's not the one to do it. When you have somebody high profile go down, somebody has to take the fall. There's rules to this.
Scapegoat.
When Mike passed, they put it on. I forgot the doctor's name off the top of my head. They put that on the doctor's name so fast because they had to put it on somebody. Because everybody in their mind could not wrap their head around Mike being on drugs. Because when people think of drug use with Mike, when people think of drug use about Michael Jackson, they think of, well, he wasn't doing crack, he wasn't doing this, he wasn't doing that. He was doing propofol, which is just as strong, just as potent as any other. It's worse than any street drug you can get your hands
I don't
on.
think people realize how bad pharmaceuticals can really be.
Pharmaceuticals,
It can be worse than crack.
pharmaceutical is worse than crack. It will kill you, like for real, for real. But that's what. But see, I go to that to say that in every situation they want to put the death on somebody. So whether they get it the right person or not, that's a different story altogether. Because 9 times out of 10, you hear about this all the time in the prison system. I was wrongfully accused, I was wrongfully acquitted, or the other person, I'm gonna do this big, even though I know that I didn't do it. I'm gonna do this to either A, get a payout, or B, protect the people who's on the outside to make sure that they straight. It goes. This is the politics behind what was happening, and this is literally what you have.
So
Here.
what they do with his not killer?
Oh, he's gonna be in jail. They got him. I don't know if he's in Vegas or somewhere, but they're gonna put him down for like.
his nephew is dead.
Yeah, but they're gonna put the dude who they got arrested right now.
DVD.
He he gonna do basically. They're gonna probably put him for about 20, which is basically for him is life.
How old is he? Oh,
60.
Yeah, it's
so
basically
life.
It's basically life.
But see, the thing about this too, man, when all that went down, like LA, Compton, was not the safest town to be in.
No, no,
You
no.
got every set went at it because of this. Because you know,
because there's
It's, I mean, you gotta understand the streets of the hood mentality. When an incident goes down and everybody gets involved, then now they know the person who did it, but they keep it quiet so they can go get them.
well, it's a form of there is a form of respect and communication amongst anything. It's like gang culture is no different than business culture. You don't think the top heads of the business people don't sit down and talk, whether it's face to face or whatever it may be. They talk. Same thing in gang culture, no different. The problem that you have is that when you have instances like this that happen, when something goes sideways, now it's like, no, y'all broke the agreement. What are we going to do? That's kind of what the agreement was. To keep the dude protected at all costs because he's the cash cow. He's the money.
Let me ask you this question.
He's the money maker. Go ahead.
What do you think about Puffy's situation?
I think he was involved too.
I think so too.
Because you gotta understand, it's money involved. When you're sitting on
A lot of people say, oh, he paid 50.
maybe.
No, he was both.
Yeah, maybe. And the reason why I said that what's Puff's involvement, of course he knows. Because you gotta understand, he is the other half of the business. When it comes to when you gotta think about what music was at the time versus what music is now, people forget that at the time, East Coast hip hop and West Coast hip hop was very contentious. Even before all this, it was a battle before the Tupac Biggie thing. Even when Tupac and Biggie were cool, it was still contentious. The West Coast rappers didn't get along with the East Coast rappers, and the East Coast rappers didn't get along with the West Coast rappers. The only one that bridged the gap was the South.
No, the only one who really bridged that gap and tried to make it work was Snoop Dogg. But
that was after.
Because like Snoop Dogg said when I watched that interview with him and what's that chick? I forgot her name. But he was like, I had no beef with Biggie or Puffy, because he's like, I grew up with New York rap, stuff like that.
Right, of course he didn't have no beef with him, but the problem is
he wanted to do a song with him.
Yeah, the problem is he didn't have to have a beef with him. The problem is that he just literally had to be involved because he was part of the West Coast scene. So he had to pick an alliance, which sucks, but it's true. Because when you pick an alliance, that's when the problems happen. And that's why I said it became much more of an issue when you had this beef put out for national, and then you got the cops involved. Cops want they want the glory of saying I found the person who did it. They know who did it. This is the FBI. If they want to find somebody, they gonna even back then. You had all these eyes on these people. If they wanted to find them, they would have found them. They know. They just have to keep it quiet too, because like I said, there's too much money involved. Because if you start putting out who did this, you're not just disrupting their culture, you're disrupting a whole hierarchy, including the cops. Because the cops were under fire at the time. Y'all forget. Cops were. Y'all think the cops are under fire now? No. The gangs of cops had to have some sort of. They were picking off cops left and right, especially out here.
Especially in the 90s.
And in the East Coast, it was no different. So they have to kind of do whatever they can to keep themselves alive.
After the LA riots,
you was not playing around with them. So it was real serious about what happened next. Why do you think it's almost 30 years later? That's not an accident. You gonna pull this dude 30 years later now when you had the information 30 years ago? You could have got him then.
So, since we're talking about Tupac and Tupac affiliated things, so would you label Tupac as a free thinker?
That's a good question.
Would you label Tupac as a free thinker?
from what we know, because it's not like we knew him personally, but from what we know and from his music, granted I didn't really listen to it, still I trust you two did. Not because you're black, but
Because I'm black. It's cool. Say it right.
But in all seriousness, do you think he was a free thinker? I'm going somewhere with this. Or do you think he just went with the crowd?
No, he had other talents besides rapping.
No. Was he against the grain?
In a way that mattered.
Yes, and
You really think so, Ken?
yes. Now, he was a free thinker who he basically went in reverse. So the reason why I say it is, I'm gonna say it like this. The reason why I say it's in reverse is not the traditional. Oh well, he was the streets, and then he got his life together and became a Christian for and less. He basically went in reverse. He was the good dude, more or less, who was talented, but was so happened to be in a poverty-stricken neighborhood. His mom kept moving around, and when he went to Northern California, is when he got exposed to the good and the bad. And when he was with Shock G and Digital Underground, and he was in Northern California, he got exposed to a lot of good stuff out there. But on the flip side of the coin, with that, he got exposed to like the gang culture. It wasn't until he got in jail is when everything kind of went left. And it was really because he thought in his heart of hearts that Puff and Big had something to do with his shooting, and that's when it went left. And when he needed somebody to reach out to, he reached out to the wrong person. The person he should have reached out to, he didn't. He should have went to Shock G. He should have went to some other people in the industry to help him. He decided not to. But the person who was like, yo, the opportunist, which Suge Knight is, he's very much the opportunist. He went in and said, and I quote, let's go get him under death row, we'll pay whatever the bail money is, we'll pay him whatever he needs, because he's too talented to be sitting in jail. That's when it turned, because then it turned from him being the good guy to him being the thug life, I'm a thug, I'm a rebel.
Wait a minute.
He went in reverse.
So they took a guy in death row and then put him in a group or made an album called Death Row.
Well, Death Row Records was the label, but
so he was not in death row.
No, but he was in jail.
To clarify, listeners.
Oh yeah, but he was in jail.
Let me explain. So,
Death Row Incorporated, not Death Row Incorporated.
Yes. Death Row Incorporated. Yes. Let me. That's good. Yeah.
Tupac was good, but not majority by association. He originally is from New York.
Facts. That's what we were getting. Yeah. I need to clear that up.
He's not. He originally is from the Bronx. A lot of mother,
don't think he's from the East. He's from the East. That is a fact.
Yeah, you would think that the way LA treats it that he's from here.
I mean, you can bang wherever you want to, all out here, but where you're originally from is where you're originally from, born and raised. So, for him, he wasn't so much in the game, but
the gang wasn't in?
It was, basically. So when he got around Suge, he's a gang. He a blood. He combined. So when he started hanging around Suge, he kind of like, okay, it's good, right? I'm gonna hang out with them, get my, my credibilities up and go from there. But his grooves still set on that too. You gotta make sure.
Now, this may be a bit of a profound question. And granted, this is a question this probably can't be answered in a single sitting. But I have to ask, because I now am curious. Where did hood culture come from for black people? Because it wasn't always like that. This had to come from somewhere.
You trying to?
You really going down that way.
You trying to stir some stuff up? Hold on.
That's a good point.
So where?
Because like the East and West, granted, for different reasons, but
that is
Where did thug life come from?
Hold on.
Did it originate from them? Did they get it from somewhere? Was it implanted?
Hold on. Let me get there. I'm putting the rest of the audio up right now. PVC Podcast crew, Paul, Big Cam, y'all know how we get down. We're doing an audio podcast for Spotify. This is gonna be a Spotify exclusive for us. So let's answer the question: where did hood culture come from? So.
And how far back does it go?
This goes back pretty far. This goes back pretty far. This is a very good question.
Because, well, the reason I ask it is because it seems like a horrible thing to inflict on your people.
It's not, because it didn't start like that. So what it
started? I mean, looking how it is now,
a lot of OG to get this.
Let me say something, and then you jump in on it and fix it, tighten it up for me. So
he really treating you like autocorrect.
How it started? It started from basically from slavery.
Okay.
When people wanted to be like, I want to be slave more, they started like Black Panthers. So then, a lot of people don't know the history with the Crips and Bloods, because Crips and Bloods wasn't just Crips and Bloods. It's a meaning of the name. Like a Crip is not just it's association. I forgot the slang of the word what Crip means, but it's for a community. And it started getting bad until you start having more people into it, or bad, influence.
Okay, so
how it incorporated, it started from slavery and going up. So when the Black Panther started, a lot of people said, I like this, this movement. It was a movement first. It wasn't about, a bunch of people hanging out and stuff like that. It was about, trying to do something positive, for their communities and stuff like that. But it didn't turn bad until when the late starting in the early 70s, going towards the 80s. That's when it started going.
So you're saying
allow me.
So what? It went south after Vietnam?
No, allow me. So you're partially right. So the culture really started because back in the day, post-slavery, when everybody was trying to find their little communities in each neighborhood, they were really diverse. But it was basically Black people and white people integrated together. Because of that, you had something that was formed because the Black people and white people, even though we were post-slavery, still the racism part still existed. Because of that
for a long time,
yeah. Yeah, because of that, and it still kind of exists today.
Not nearly. It's actually kind of flipped.
It's just not as profound or distinct, but it's still there. But what happened in the neighborhoods and the housing in particular, what happened was because you had neighbors, like white people, Black neighbors intermixed. What happened was the white neighbors got all scared because they didn't know how these Black neighbors would interact.
No.
So the white neighbors, formed something that we still use today. It's called Neighborhood Watch. They formed Neighborhood Watch.
Wait, are you telling me the Homeowners Association was formed because of the end of slavery?
It was because they didn't know how to interact with people and talk without having a group of them talk about.
Is that a yes or a maybe?
More of a maybe, closer to a yes, but I don't want to confirm nor deny that.
Okay.
But it's more so happened because the Neighborhood Watch came about. So Black people wanted to have their own form of, well, if they're making the rules about what happens on our block, we live on the same block as they do, we want to have our rights as well. The Black Panthers came around, which y'all probably right on, and they started saying, look, we're going to form a group. The first one was the Black Panthers, where they all kind of came together and would be there to basically watch the Black people in those same neighborhoods, especially in the South.
Well, yeah, from what I remember very, very vaguely, is that they were advocates of American rights, and that they were their rights.
Right.
Because they were Americans. The Black Panthers' whole thing was, we have a right to bear arms, we have a right to freedom.
Right.
We have all the same rights as every other American. But the problem was that racism.
No, so the racism was the part of it. But you asked the question, when did it turn? When did it turn from being like about
protecting the
community
kind of
versus
ruining it?
Yes. we'll take you to the 1980s. It was the crack era.
I was about to say that. So it was during Nixon's presidency.
It was the crack era, where
it was Nixon, right? Or was it? No, it was Reagan.
It was Reagan. Reagan, you know, the Reaganomics and all that stuff. It started to change because when you started seeing the money involved, and they were like, okay, they started doing like softer drugs and all this stuff. And I know this is like straight for audio, softer drugs and stuff. And then they started making money off of it, and then they knew that they could make money off of crack cocaine in particular. That's when it changed. That's when it became more about the money, about making money for them. At first it was like, well, let's make money for the neighborhood, let's make money for us, we can do it as a community. You know, the black folk, we all get paid, so we'll be on equal standing with everybody else. What happened was they started making too much money, and it was too fast. And then you had the politics of how the money was getting divvied up. Then you had a fight over the money. And once you start having that, then you start having offsets of the black culture, which means that it wasn't just about the Black Panthers or the Muslim or the Brotherhood, as everybody would say. Then you got started forming like, well, I can't rock with these people because they ain't paying us and they're not looking out for us. So we're gonna form our neighborhood and our little group of people. So happen to be the Crips.
So what
and
I'm thinking,
and the Crips wasn't really like the Crips as you know it today. The Crips was basically another neighborhood black. I call it. I mean, you have neighborhood watch for the white people. The Crips and the Bloods was basically the neighborhood watch for the black people.
I gotta ask this: do you think modern day Crips even know what their names mean?
No, because it's too far.
So they don't even know their own history.
Some of them do because certain sets and I shouldn't talk gang culture, but I'm gonna talk about it for a minute.
We're already in too deep.
Yeah. So in certain gang culture, it is a requirement that you know some of the history, because if an OG was to check you on this stuff and you didn't know, it's consequences and repercussions. Yeah, it is. You gotta know it, but do they really know it in the hood? Like if you pulled up to a random neighborhood and asked a regular person about their lineage, meaning that who was the head, who started 60s, who started this. When you start talking about that stuff, most people wouldn't know. And because you're so far deep into it, because it went beyond just being a neighborhood watching. It became more of, now it's a family lineage. It didn't matter what I knew. It mattered that my grandfather was one of the family members, and my pops was there. So now I'm there. Now my kids is there. So now it became a family thing, and gang culture became a family business.
So to kind of pick up what you're putting down here, the reason why modern gang culture is so horrendous and bad is because due to a series of fractures.
Yes, it was just
essentially.
We did a very.
It was a big break.
Can I be honest? Can I be frank with you? I'll answer your question. I'm let him go.
Okay. Oh. Please, back up.
No. I will answer your question, but I'm let him come back.
But listeners, if you can't tell, we're sitting at this wonderful restaurant called.
We're at Fantastic Burgers, by the way.
Fantastic Burger, over here in Norwalk. If you've never had it, you're kind of missing out. It's pretty good.
Thanks.
They got everything you can think of, from breakfast burritos to literal spaghetti. That's a stupid thing to say, literal spaghetti. What else? Literal spaghetti. But no, they have spaghetti.
They ain't spaghettios.
But yeah, you guys should check this place out. They're pretty good. Food is good, service is good, people are good. Today's topics, though, this is actually not the main topic. This happened because of reasons that
we were sidetracked. So it goes into kind of like the.
Thank you.
It all ties into like the Biggie Tupac situation. The Tupac, it goes to the story of where they found the alleged killer of Tupac, even though that is a big story, but it's a much deeper. They didn't really find the real person. They just found somebody who they wanted to drop as a scapegoat. But so where was we? I was going to answer a question. What was the question?
So essentially this is a series of fractures. That's why the modern gang culture is so horrendous.
It was a series of, when you put money involved, we did a very black thing and we separated ourselves as opposed to unify. And if you ever want to know why we have separation now in the black culture for real, it's because we always have been like that from the very beginning. We always, even though you would think that other cultures will try to find a way to build themselves together, we separate ourselves.
Would you call it tribalism?
No. Is
Because isn't that what kind of tribalism is? It's just isolate, breaking off and making smaller groups, essentially, instead of a community. It's a tribe.
Yes, because see what? Yeah, no. I kind of agree with that because what we did. So what you did was when you had a big movement and you separated into smaller chunks, and you said this section is supposed to do this, and this section is supposed to be this, and yeah, they never. But see, the problem is with tribalism. Normally, in tribalism, even though they're separating with the cause of trying to build their culture up, to bring it back, to like expand it, to bring it back together, to get people to recognize who they are. The reason why I say it is like tribalism, because we have been doing that, but it wasn't for the right reason. Black people did it to be individuals, not for the collective. That's where we got wrong.
So
every other culture kind of gets this right. They'll spread out. But you know what they do it? They do it for the bigger cause. They do it for we're trying to bring people to be aware of who we are as a people. We're too concerned about being an individual. We're just too concerned about.
I think the motorcycle gangs have so many chapters, have so many locations. Not just because it's a group of guys in the game. They have a group, they have a territory. So if something goes wrong right here, they know they can call these people from this territory to come help them with this.
So you would say
but the difference is for a greater good, meaning that if you, I'm gonna go here and I shouldn't, but I'm going to go here. Shout out to my grandfather. My grandfather was he's the former president of the Soul Brothers Motorcycle Club. And when you brought that up, my grandfather is the president. Right now he runs the LA chapter, even though he's not riding anymore because he's too old to do it. He still has so much influence in that chapter. The reason why that they expanded the Soul Brothers to go into different areas was not because they were trying to be individuals. They wanted to let people know that no matter where we are, the Soul Brothers exist. Versus in gang culture, which is a little bit different than fight culture, it was, I want to show that I'm better than this. So you have 60s here, another set, 3 blocks away, but they can't get it together. But they're 3 blocks away because they're trying to show that one is better than the other. Versus, let's come together and get this bread.
So we are talking literally here. Antonyms. It's construction versus destruction.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're cooking now.
Because when you dealing with it's a thing about when you're dealing with the streets and when you're not from the streets. And I say this, and this is something my uncle told me this a long time ago. He said back then a lot of people had respect. Yeah, sure, you might get some knuckleheads, start trouble every now and then, but from between then and now, has not gotten no better. People don't respect they only respect the game, they don't respect the thing about it. And that's why you see so many people get beat up or killed because they just say, oh, I'm from this set, I'm from this gang, or I'm harder than you. It just, basically what it is building a reputation.
Now, continue with this series of questions. Do you think with the rise of the internet and social media, that contributed to the degradation, not the degradation, more to the rise and do you think it contributed to the problem?
Yes. Oh yeah. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you say no. I'm gonna tell you yes, and I'm gonna tell you why. Go ahead. Go no.
This happened way before social media.
Okay.
But I'm not saying it happened because of social media. I'm saying that social media contributed to getting worse.
Worse? Yes. That part, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying it started. I'm saying it contributed to getting worse.
Because I'll say 50-50 because back then, when you wanted to get known, you do something and then it gets on TV. Now that social media is here, it's gotten worse because now you can put everything on profile. Why you and don't you and then this is on stupid people ears. And I say this on show, whatever you put on social media content, people watch it. Fans are watching.
No, so let me say, does it affect the social media affect where we are as far as like gang culture and all that stuff? Absolutely. Absolutely. It affects everything. So when you see these knuckleheads run into stores and just blatantly steal stuff out of there, take it back to the hood, try to flip it, you don't think that them being on camera is kind of a thing like, well, I don't know where you got it from. Now you can see that they literally got it from they got the Birkin bag from Beverly Hills. Because you see these fools running around to go get it. So it's much more easier. And then they can say like, well, since you were able to do this, why don't y'all go do this for us as well? We'll take these off of your hands. Let's go do this. So does social media help this? Of course it does. It makes it worse. Because now you don't have to put it, like when you said like back in the day they had to put it on the news. You know how hard it was to get on the news? To get something known and stuff. So when you saw all these random acts that you think that, oh well, person was riding without their lights on. You remember back in the day where people riding without their lights on, and then the people would flash lights, and then the culture was, you pop them. That was a thing of trying to get known.
My mom told me about that a long time ago.
No, that was a real thing. That was regular.
Like, whatever you do, like don't ever flash your lights.
Yes, because when you were right in certain neighborhoods, like you go to Whittier or some other neighborhood, oh yeah, no, it was on site.
That was where I was born.
Right.
And then another thing too that you gotta understand, like with rap shit, you gotta if people really pay attention to certain people's lyrics, like back then, that's how they was able to get their stuff because of rapping.
So
certain rappers didn't rap with just regular rap. They rap with like
they rapped that everything was that street stuff. And this is where remember we talked about this a few episodes ago. Did NWA mess a lot of things up? Absolutely. And it's not because they messed it up on purpose. It's what it did was, if these fools could go out there and talk reckless for one, because nobody was talking like they were talking at the time. They were the first ones to start cussing on hip hop albums. They were the first ones to like put street code like the West Coast street culture into motion. So if they were the ones doing it, what do you think these other ones were going to do? You think they were going to sit on the sideline and wait? So first of all the West Coast people said, well, if these boys are doing it over here, Quick, MCA, all these people sitting on the sideline, you don't think they don't want to talk about their sets and stuff too? Of course, like you see these fools repping like Kelly Park. Who's going to represent us? See how the individual starts to happen? And then now you got these Bloods and Crips, and now they're banned. So it went from being just in the streets, now you brought it to the industry. Brings us back to Tupac and Biggie. So when Tupac and Biggie was going through their whole thing, you got these East Coast people who's gonna hold Big down no matter what. No matter where this man goes, they're gonna hold this man down. Even though Tupac is from the East, by the way, who had a lot of respect in the East, the West Coast adopted Tupac because he was talking all this West Coast this, West Coast that, because he was born, he was cool out in Northern California. Then he came down out here, and he was cool out here because he was the hood's icon of here's where we can be.
Basically, he was the messenger.
He was where he gave all the gang members, because he was like, even though he wasn't like gang like that, he gave all the gang people, here's what you could be. You could be in the gang, but you could still make money like I can. You could be in the gang and rap. You could be in the gang and be in movies. You could be in the gang and do all this stuff and still be top to front. And you know what everybody started to do? They started to gun at him. Because he started to get too high and too far, and when he started to get away from them.
So this goes all the way back to what we talked about a long time ago. This is the crab mentality.
Yes.
Of real quick, listeners, what we're talking about, or what I'm talking about here is the crab mentality. The crab mentality is like you got a bucket of crabs, right? and the crab's at the top. One of them is trying to climb out. Instead of helping him get out, the other crabs will pull him back down.
Yes, and they didn't want to pull him down to base level. They wanted him to still be at the top of the game, making the money because again, he was the cash cow not just for him. He's the cash cow for a lot of people.
So it's not they wanted to pull him down; they wanted him on a leash.
Yes, but see, he wanted to separate. But when he tried to separate from them and started to be more industry-like, meaning that do more movies, not rap so much, get himself a solid
So he was
girl.
trying to do what Ice Cube did.
He was trying to, more importantly, he was trying to do what Jay-Z wound up being the first person that actually used it. Cube kind of got away, but not really. But he wasn't as successful. Tupac should have been where Jay-Z is now because he was set up to do it. The only difference is that because he was so far deep into one half of the equation, he couldn't separate out. Jay-Z had enough people around him to separate himself out to be like, I'm not, so, and he cut off major pieces Jay-Z cut off major pieces in his camp. People who got him to where he was to separate himself, and no, they didn't like it. But he had to do it. Now, do they respect him now? Yeah, he's a multi-billionaire. You have to respect him now because now he's untouchable. You thought he was untouchable before. He's untouchable now. But the streets can't get to him now. The streets respect him now. The streets love him now. Because here's what he got to show for it. He has everything to show for it. He's a billionaire. There's nobody in the hood who has more money than him. Nobody. He's a billionaire. He's untouchable because you got so many people around you and he still has the streets with him. He's untouchable. Oh, he don't have no girls? Oh, he probably has one of the top 10 baddest girls on the planet. Let's keep it tall with you. You got Beyonce. And he wasn't supposed to have her, but he got her. And he had her since. He had her for 20 plus years. We don't know that. Beyonce had 2 boyfriends in life. Her high school boyfriend and him. And keep in mind, he had a choice of, and Jay-Z had a choice of who he could have been with. He could have been with Aaliyah. He could have been with Maya. He could have been with Tierra Murray. He could have picked when Puff had Jennifer Lopez and messed it up because he's a dum-dum. Jay-Z showed you I could do this. He got farther than everybody else who tried to be that one. Jay-Z's that one.
All right.
And I'm not like, here's the thing. I'm not one of those big like, oh well, look up to Jay-Z as an icon. No, I'm just telling you that from a hood's perspective. That's what they were trying to do. Tupac was supposed to be where Jay-Z was. That's what the hood wanted to see. Somebody who could get in, get out, still keep their roots, but still show that I could blend in with the white.
Right.
I could blend in with the white man.
To put a little bit of a bow on this topic here, well, they got quote-unquote Tupac's killer. It's not his killer, but it's someone related to the killer. He's most likely going to be the rest of his life in prison. He's an older guy, about 20 years, you said they give him.
Oh, at least.
You know, considering he's in his like 60s, that is essentially life for him. Yeah, that's life.
It's in essence it's going to be life. It's not life, but they're not going to claim.
They're not going to call it that, but that's what it is.
Basically, he ain't coming home.
Nope.
Let's keep it tall.
He might as well kiss his wife and kids.
You think he'll get killed?
Nah.
Yeah.
No.
Well, no, because they ain't messing.
Do you think he'd at least get jumped?
Oh,
No.
yeah. Oh, that's regular.
I mean,
just on some hood stuff.
I mean, if he does get jumped, he still got his own crew.
No, there's enough. It's just like when people be like, when Suge is doing his bid now.
Yeah, and when nobody touches Suge.
No, but nobody. Suge got too much. He got too much.
Still got that metabolism.
Suge got too much movement and stuff. So if he's connected to Suge, he's probably a made dude too. Well, matter of fact, I think they're probably in the same spot.
They just did an interview with Suge on TMZ.
Ain't nobody messing with them because, like I said, when you're too connected, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Well, to put my final touches on this conversation, dear listener, well, as always, we want to thank you for listening to us this morning. We're not ending the podcast just yet. This is just the first topic. But we just want to thank you for spending time with us. I know we haven't been around for a minute,
Oh yeah, you know what?
It's been a hot minute, but you know your boys are fine. Paul is here, Cameron's here, I'm here, all by the grace of God.
Facts. We didn't do nothing. It's been a minute. First of all, we apologize first and foremost to all of our 80 subscribers. We appreciate each and every one of y'all. 82 of them things. Sorry, I forgot the two new news who decided to jump on with us. We appreciate each and every one of y'all rocking along with the PVC Podcast group. Yes, it's been a minute. The crew's been going through a couple different things, and we kind of had to get some time to kind of air out to make sure we had enough time to kind of process and make sure that everybody was in a good headspace. So we want to make sure that happens. Some crazy stuff, some fun stuff. We will get into details about it down the line.
So I'm sure most of you are probably familiar with the fact that life doesn't care what's going on; it's going to happen.
Yep.
So, it's best to always try to just make plans, but always be ready to lose those plans.
Oh yeah, you know how it goes. Best laid plans usually suck, but we still roll along with it anyway. Besides that, for all the new people who ain't heard from us in a while and did all that stuff, we got to do a proper intro. We haven't had a chance to do a proper intro in a minute. Yeah, I know we're not doing this on camera. This is going to be a Spotify exclusive. So for the people who've been watching on YouTube, we appreciate this. We're going to put an audio version out for Spotify in particular. But because we're going to do that, hey, Paul.
What's up?
Say what's up to the people. It's been a minute.
What's up, people tuning in?
Hug the mic.
It's been a minute when we did this audio thing, and like Cam said, we're sorry for the advance. I had to take some time off. I had some family, so I ain't gonna get into too much details. But the ones who do know about it, I appreciate all you guys' love and reaching out to me and stuff like that. And Vic and Cam, appreciate you guys for being, rocking with me through this time of needs. But besides that, you know how I do it, man. I'm gonna pass it on to my boy Vic. Vic, say what's up to the people.
Well, dear listeners, we're glad to be back here, PVC Podcast crew. Cameron, what episode is this?
Dog, you know what? We are on what? 59? Is that about right? 59?
Well, listeners,
59? That sounds about right. If for video terms, 59. For the Spotify listeners, this would be like 27 for Spotify people watching on for Spotify, because this is exclusive for them.
All right, dear listeners, whether we're right or wrong, you can make fun of us later.
Yeah.
But it's just glad to be back behind the mic and just to be here with the P and the C of the PVC Podcast group. And we have, as always, lots to talk about. As always, the news never stops coming in, the world never stops spinning. After all, the Lord is the one who sustains it. So until He comes back, or until He decides to bring one of us home, we'll be around. You may not hear from us in a while, from time to time, but do take fact that we'll come back, Lord willing. So we hope you enjoy this episode. We hope you, if you're new and this is your first episode, go ahead and go back and listen to the first and over episodes. That'd be greatly appreciated. And if you've been sticking with us from the beginning, thank you for your loyalty. You will one day be rewarded. Probably by Cameron. Cameron, give me your bank details.
Routing numbers, right?
Pay for their loyalty, Cameron.
No, we ain't gonna do all that. But
leave your Venmo details.
Anybody who got a Cash App, whatnot, maybe we can do something. Anyway,
speaking of Cameron, I'm going to pass the mic over to him now. But you may know him as a different name.
Oh, you know what? I haven't did my intro in a minute. Wait a minute. Pause. Cam, aka Nerd Boy Fresh. Follow me on the gram and all that good stuff. I'm sorry. It's been a long time. We shouldn't have left you without a podcast. The step two. You know how we get down. It's been an honor to do this, y'all. It's been a little bit of time. We apologize that it took us a minute to get back in the box and doing our thing. But like Vic said, life happens. The Lord takes us in a little bit of a different direction from time to time, but it's okay. We ain't gonna let y'all go too long without us getting back in the box and doing our thing. So we appreciate y'all. And to echo something that Paul said earlier, for all the people who was reaching out on behalf of Paul, we have definitely, as a PVC Podcast crew, appreciate each and every person who was being in support of him during this time of need and whatnot. I want you to hear that from all of us directly. We appreciate all of y'all for doing that.
Thank you guys so much.
Y'all don't understand how greatly appreciated that is. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your support. Thank you for everybody. Even just your, hey, what's up? How you doing? How the podcast going? You know, we appreciate that. I know down the line, like I said, we're gonna be bringing some guests in. We got Joe coming. We got Joe coming sometime soon. We got we got Joe coming sometime soon. We're gonna do a setup for him. Maybe we'll do something down by the beach or something. We may do something like let him talk about his movies, his music, some of his stuff that he's got going on. I got my boy. He's out doing some firefighting work right now, but I'm definitely going to bring my crew Cross Culture down. So we're going to sit down with the squad Cross Culture. Of course, they're going to see how my music stuff been topping off with them, of course. So we got some things cooking. Oh, by the way, we still touching up the final looks on our logo. We're working on that. So with the logo, a couple t-shirts and stuff. Yeah, we working. I got a couple of ideas coming. We're going to be chopping it up with the boys in the next week or so. Get some finalization on that. Once we do, yeah, we got some t-shirts, some hats, some the whole t-shirt happening.
The whole 9 yards.
So we got some stuff cooking. Don't y'all worry. Because so for the first couple of people who did subscribe to the podcast, we may throw some t-shirts and stuff for y'all as well. We may do a little something for the early adopters. So don't worry about that. We're gonna take care of the people who's been rocking with us from the beginning. Besides that, let's talk about this real quick. So I took a day off from work. I went to go see Chris Tucker and show live YouTube theater last night. First of all, great show, great venue. I was in the club level seating and stuff. It was my first time being at the YouTube theater in particular. For people who don't know, in LA, they have built the SoFi Stadium, the football stadium. Then right next to both of those venues, you have the Kia Forum and you have the YouTube theater. It was basically like two smaller venues where, you know, comedy acts, other smaller acts go. And then YouTube theater is basically sits about 8,000 people. It's pretty tall, but it was actually a cool little spot. Being in the YouTube theater, the way that it's set up and the acoustics and everything, is actually a really good venue. But people was asking me last night, does Chris Tucker still have it? Oh, he still got it. He still got it.
What's Chris, 51, 52?
He's like 55, 54, 55, man. He still got it.
Well, brother, you're saying he still got it. Can you ever tell us one of his jokes?
Oh, no. I'm going to tell you right now. One of the things that they did, and they do it at a lot of comedy shows now, they made it a point. We had to put our phones in like these little zip pouch. No, I ain't calling it zip pouches. It's one of those little magnetic lock boxes. So I had to put my phone all up in there. I couldn't take a picture. I couldn't show nothing. They said no phones whatsoever because they didn't want nothing to come out until they put it out. I guess it's going to be on the Netflix special that he's putting out next, probably for next year. Because he's on a 41 city tour. He was out here last night. He's going to go to Oakland tonight and come back for LA Saturday or Sunday, something like that. So he's going to be back in LA for one more show, then he's going to be hitting the road. But yeah, he was talking about, he talked about Will Smith, which was kind of funny because I thought we was kind of off for the Will Smith thing, but he kind of went heavy on Will Smith. Talked about Michael Jackson a lot. You could tell that he really kind of misses Mike.
Michael Jackson.
I think he really misses Mike, and it was kind of like telling, knowing that, when Michael Jackson passed away, that he still kind of, he still does all the singing and his, what I give him credit for, his impressions were really good. He did a lot of impressions of a lot of them people.
He does Michael Jackson impression?
He did Mike, he did Prince, he did Obama, he did Charlie Sheen, he did so many people.
The best impression I've seen Chris ever do? Bill Clinton.
He did Bill. He did Bill.
Nice.
He did Bill.
So that's his,
he did Bill.
That's his gimmick?
That's just what he's good at. He's good at doing
impressions.
Yeah, he was good at doing impressions. But it was just a good overall show because, like I said, he doesn't, Tucker doesn't
worth the money.
Yeah, he doesn't do stand-up like that. That's not, he used to do it back in the day, but that's not really his thing. His thing is more like being funny in like movies and stuff like that. But when you see him in a stand-up environment, oh, he's still that dude. Don't get it wrong. It's just weird because it's like everybody's so used to like Chris Tucker being like skinny, drugs, alcohol. Yeah, they're used to that. What people don't know is that Chris Tucker is a devout Christian, goes to West Angeles, of course, with Denzel and them. So it wasn't as wild as what you would think his show would be, but it wasn't like
Was there cussing?
a little bit, but not as much as you would think coming from him. You would think it would be like cuss this, cuss that, cuss this, cuss that. Not so much. When y'all see it, you're gonna see that it was
provocative.
Oh, it was provocative. Don't get it wrong, but it was provocative because the content and what he was talking about was provocative, but it wasn't done in like raunchy bad taste. If that makes sense, it wasn't like him overly like exploiting women. He wasn't like shooting jokes out towards the crowd. Like how a lot of comics they want to talk about people in the crowd. He wasn't really doing that. Now his opening comic was a different story. Now that fool, I forgot that old boy's name off the top of my head. That boy was punching jokes at the crowd all the whole time. He was funny too.
Did he get you?
No, no. I was in the club level. I'm in the club level in the back, chilling. I'm in the back. So if y'all when we get a chance to go to, we're gonna go to the YouTube theater at some point.
It's on your way, right?
When we go to the YouTube theater at some point, you're gonna see that there's a club level seating where you have a buffet, food, you get your drinks on, whatever. Then when you go to your seat, they actually have a spot where you can sit your food down and eat right from the club level. You can't do that in a regular seat. You can only do it in the club level seat. It's like kind of like having a modified box seating.
I'm not gonna lie, that sounds awful because like you're eating. It's dark. I'm assuming, right? It's not bright like how it is in here.
Oh yeah, once the show starts, yes, it gets dark.
I mean, I eat buffet food. I'm sitting in the dark. I'm not gonna stay awake.
First of all, with that comedy going on, you were staying awake. That's for one.
Awake at what I'm.
You're gonna hear that. But I mean, don't get it wrong. But you can't, I'm like, if you wasn't really feeling the show, yeah, you can easily fall asleep, especially over there, because it's super dark.
Now to clarify, he's not jabbing at Tucker's show.
No.
He's just saying that's a possibility for other comics.
Because the crazy thing behind it is that with all the people who was there, you still heard people say, I didn't walking out, I didn't really like the show.
Well, granted, that's with every comic.
Everybody gonna do that.
Yeah, but I was
like how people don't like that's everything.
Right. But it's weird that like, I don't really like it, wasn't really that funny. It was like, word, all right, bet.
Oh, yeah,
I thought it was hilarious.
And then you got people who just like to be miserable.
That's facts. That's fact. Because you can tell certain people just got dragged to the show because like, well, it's a show. I gotta pull up because my dude want to go. That type of conversation. We had a whole bunch of that. But that's what I did last night. Been doing some other stuff across the last couple of weeks. Just been kind of hanging out stuff, trying to get prepared for the podcast, of course. Make sure my squad's good, of course. That's how we get down. Oh, shout out to the kids. Shout out my chickadees. The chickadees is cool. Shout out to them. I have to make sure I say what's up to them, of course.
Yeah.
My son, he had to brave the rapids out in North Carolina. They had a big old storm. And since they had him on gate duty, he had to be out there like guarding the gate for like 12 hours at a time, which ain't fun when the torrential downpours is out there. But yeah, yes, in the rain. It's like they don't care. You still got to guard. You still got to guard the gate. They don't care if it's rain, shine, snow, whatever. If you on guard duty, like at the gates, you gotta watch the gates no matter what. But shout out to my son. He's doing well. My daughter, working, going to school. She's doing well as well. Anyway, what y'all been up to, man? It's been a couple of weeks since everybody been listening to y'all voices. What y'all been doing?
Go ahead, Paul.
Me just been working and training, getting prepared for this new journey of trying to make things happen.
Oh, I saw y'all had Chris Howder in the building.
No, what that is he's doing actually another seminar, a big seminar tour for 2024.
Oh, word? Okay.
That's going to end up happening, which I will be going to that.
Okay.
But other than that, just the same simple stuff, brother. Just working and training.
That's what's up. Big, what you been up to, man? What you been doing?
Well, what I've been up to recently is what I've always been doing. Going to work, loving the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to work.
Mm-hmm.
Repenting.
Facts.
Confessing. Enduring. Confessing again. Praying. Listening. reading, playing games, more praying.
Mm-hmm.
But to top it all off, simply believing.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness,
If you, this dude didn't chop. He didn't chop block the kid all in the chest
It's a
like that.
shame,
I'm glad we didn't have that on camera. He's straight Chris Tucker. I got Jackie Chan real quick.
I think I just got bit.
Yeah, he just did the heart punch from Kill Bill.
That's what I'm saying. The whole 5-finger death punch.
But what I've been up to, people, is just simply working and
praying. I got you.
Working and enduring.
Oh.
Trusting in the Lord with everything. Not easy, but it's possible because of Him.
God is calm.
More than we'll ever know, and more than we'll ever really appreciate.
Indeed.
In all seriousness, they're without number. But in all seriousness, man, with all this remodeling going on, work's been kind of a drag. But it's not that it's bad; it's a drag, Like we go in and it just feels longer sometimes, most of the time. I just want this remodel to be done. In all honesty, I just want us to be on the road with this finally. But
yeah, and I think that's kind of the kicker for me. Is like,
Let me put it this way: I don't want us to be there for when they remodel it again.
Yeah, no, we ain't gonna be there that long. We're gonna be well on our way.
No shade at Walmart either. Walmart's a great job. It's perfect for what you need, and that's survival.
No, I would never poo-poo on the Walmart job, even though a lot of people would say, well, why do you work at Walmart?
No, it's a great job. It's better than Kmart.
It's better than it's better than a lot of other jobs. I'm gonna keep it tall with
better
you.
Than Big Lots.
There's a lot worse. Would you rather work at the Dollar Tree or the 99-cent store?
That really depends on the area.
No, I'm just saying, no, for real. Because I'm saying right now, they do a lot more work with a lot less people and don't get paid nearly as much as what a lot of us do. So I'm not going to poo-poo on what Walmart provides. I mean, yeah, I know there's a lot of like stupid stuff that happens within the building, and I would never put that out in public space, but it's not terrible either. There's a lot worse places you can be. But you did mention something.
What?
You said you was getting your game on.
So what am I playing?
Yeah, what you're playing is
All
the
right.
question.
Well, I did some playing and I did some watching. I'll go into playing first. So I've been on that Gen 7 kick, seventh generation of games, aka 360 era.
Mm-hmm.
Been rocking with those for a hot minute.
Right.
It helps that they're affordable. But the most modern game I've played recently is Darktide. Warhammer 40,000 Darktide.
Didn't they just drop that on Game Pass?
Yeah. Okay. Like literally yesterday.
Yes, that's what I thought. Okay.
That's why I played it. It's really good. It's not perfect, but it's really good for just like if you want to play a horde shooter for an hour, that's your game. It's perfect for that. It's perfect drop in, drop out.
Got it.
Right? It can get very grueling if you want to play this game all day. The only way you're doing that is like with a set team.
Right.
It would not be good playing with randoms all day.
Got it.
But like if you just want to play a few matches of a horde game, that's great.
Okay.
For free, it's free in quotations.
Free with Game Pass. Get your Game Pass up.
I've been playing that. It's great. It's a really fun game. Hopefully they'll make more content for it in the future. If you all would like to play with me or us on Xbox, I go by Nitro Zeus.
Zeus.
Yeah. I got it from a crappy. Which Transformers movie was it? It was Transformers. I want to say 5 or something, because there's a scene in the movie where they're introducing a bunch of Decepticons we never heard of, and one of them was called Nitro Zeus.
Got it.
That's the greatest name I ever heard. So I made it my gamer tag.
Nitro Zeus.
Because it's so dumb, it's perfect. But
yeah, you can always get your game on, split your game on the Xbox, True Indeed on the PlayStation. Either way, you can always get your game on any point in time. But you've been playing Warhammer? Okay, I got you. I know you slid through and played Starfield. How'd you like it?
Oh, I gave up.
Trash?
No, it's not the game's fault. It's just I don't want work outside of work.
Oh, got it.
Because that's what it is. It's a game where I don't want to play a game for hundreds of hours just to be where I want to be. I'm not doing that.
Got it.
This life is vapor. It ends quicker than you know it, and I don't want that being to a Bethesda RPG.
Just like
It's not a terrible game. It's not the game's fault. Well, actually, it kind of is, because games don't need to be hundreds or thousands of hours long. This is an awful mentality for games. I'd rather have a good game that's like 6 or 8 hours long and just play that for months on end. Because if it's fun, that means it's replayable. Versus like playing Starfield all the way through to completion once and never touching it again.
So you don't think it's fun?
Because of just the time consumption. Because it's mostly just traveling from place to place.
No, I got it, and that's the reason why I'm asking the question.
I know,
because
people call it exploration. Like I said, it's a me thing. I don't care for it.
No, I got it. No.
You know, it's not a terrible game. I would honestly rate it about a 7.
That's kind of was my take.
I would give it a 7, and that's fair. You know, I would give it a 7. It's not terrible. It's not great. You could live without it.
Yeah.
But besides playing things, I also saw the movie Creator, or The Creator.
Haven't heard of it. Talk to me.
So the movie The Creator was made and directed by the guy who made the Star Wars movie Rogue One.
Rogue One was good though.
Yeah, and the visuals for the movie was really, really good. I loved his visuals. That was the best part of the movie. How it looked was great. Like easily just great. The story and the characters, not so much.
Okay.
I didn't care for the whole thing because of this age we're living in where people are like, well, what makes us human, you know? What if an AI says it wants to live and stuff like that? You know, so it was kind of like that. You know, the whole thing was created. Spoilers, I guess, if you care about that thing. But trust me, I'm doing you a favor. There's this character. His name is Joshua, right? And he's got to infiltrate this AI lab, and he does. And he's going in there to destroy the AI super weapon, right? I'm missing a lot of context here, but it doesn't really matter. But it turns out the AI super weapon is a child AI, which is able to grow and, I hate this word, evolve. And it's stupid because the whole thing is like, well, they're so human-like and they have emotions, right? But my whole thing is like, no matter anything can be human like that doesn't make it human. People are like, well, what makes it human? It's literally called a soul.
That's going to go into the
I would not have any qualms killing robots. Like, it could look like a little child. I would not hesitate to blow a hole through it because it's not alive. It's a thing.
Right.
You know, and this is the stance that the character Joshua has in the movie for a minute, but of course, it being a movie, he loses his convictions because the robot child convinces him that, well, maybe they're more human than I thought. Because he goes from killing robots and saying, well, it's just turning them off, which it is, to saying, oh, no, they're dying. It's dumb.
Got it. I got it.
The whole thing
it goes into the whole AI.
Yeah, it's like I said, visually speaking, I love the vision. I really, honestly, I wish the $2 theater by where I live was open because I would literally pay $2 to see it in the theater again just because of the visuals. That's how much I love the visuals.
But the movie itself was kind of trash.
But the writing was not good in my opinion.
Got it.
The coolest thing though was there was this big ship in the movie called Nomad.
Okay.
Right? Extremely impractical, but it's super cool because it's like in low orbit. That's how high in the sky it is. It's in low orbit.
Got it.
And it has this really large targeting laser. It makes these boo-wop noises as it's scanning. And it's intimidating looking, but it's also really cool. That's like my favorite part of the movie.
Got it.
I honestly, I got faked out because there's this scene in the movie where, you know, he goes traitor, of course, against the U.S. government. Then he gets captured by the U.S. government with an AI child in hand, right? And the U.S. government is trying to humanely kill the AI child, but they're like, okay, she's not letting us turn her off. We need you to go in there and kill her. Right, this is Joshua's character. He's like, okay, I'll go do it. And I thought he actually did it. I was surprised. I actually kind of cheered a little bit. I was like, yes.
Right.
You know, he's back. But no, it was a fake out. They didn't kill it. It's not a great movie. Honestly, I hate to say it, it'll probably be forgotten in about a year.
Oh, it's probably a Netflix type movie. I got you.
But I like the visuals. I don't regret going to the theater to see it because that's what made it worth it. If I saw this on TV, I'd probably hate it.
Got it.
But because I saw it in theater, that's why I probably like it. Would I recommend seeing it? No, it's dumb. But it's entertaining.
I know y'all horror fans. I'm gonna let y'all rock.
I also saw Saw.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's two of them. So tell me about this Saw. I don't watch horror movies like that. Y'all do. Tell me about Saw and tell me about Exorcist. What do I need to know?
Hold on real quick.
Huh?
Sorry. Hello? Alright, Sandra, no worries. Everything's alright. But
so tell me about Saw, tell me about Exorcist.
So
what do I need to know about these?
Well, Paul, before you pick this up, me and Paul were talking. He's seeing Exorcist tomorrow.
Okay.
I saw Saw. It's a really goofy movie.
Got it.
It's a goofy movie. You gotta understand how I see things, though. I mean, some people look at Saw like a horror movie, right? I mean, technically it's a horror movie, but it's just dumb. It's goofy. That's the best way for me to put it. Now, some people are like, well, how can you call it goofy? You know, it's like people are mutilating themselves so they don't die horrible deaths.
Got it.
You know, it's like, well, maybe if they weren't pagans, they wouldn't be afraid of death, but okay.
But,
it's dumb because it's just like, okay, well, first off, the main character, the man Jigsaw himself, also known as Jack or John Kramer.
Something like that.
Right? His whole thing is I don't kill people, the traps kill people. Right? And that first off, that's not how that works. You absolutely are killing them.
Right.
You're the one who made the traps and you put them there. His whole thing is he does this to make them better people, right? But it's a failure to understand the human heart,
right?
Because outside behavior does not reflect the inside person. So even if you've managed to get them to act like good people, which there's no such thing, but I'm just saying here, you've effectively done nothing because the heart is still the same. I don't know, it's just dumb stuff like that. It was a dumb movie. Why did you go see it then, you're asking? Because I like spending time with my brother. He wanted to see it. So I went pretty much, I didn't go for the movie, I went with him for him.
Got it.
That's why I saw this flick. It's just dumb. Granted, I find a lot of horror movies dumb. Like the new Exorcist movie coming out.
That's what I'm saying.
That one looks really stupid. It's made by people who have most likely never read the Bible, who have no sense of theology, and don't know what they're talking about. Granted, that's a lot of things and a lot of people, but it's just dumb stuff like that. Where they've been ruined. Well, not ruined actually. More like they've been revealed to me and what they really are. It's just stupidity. Really, just like a lot of horror things. Although I will say though, I saw this movie a while ago. It was A Murder in Venice.
Okay.
That was really good. Now people might say I'm a hypocrite, but it's not a horror movie. It's a murder mystery.
Got it.
It was the first murder mystery I ever saw.
Oh, those are good.
I loved it. Right?
Murder mysteries are better.
A little bit of a spoiler, I guess, but the whole thing was like, okay, as he's trying to find out who murdered this person, quote unquote paranormal things are happening, right? We don't know what's happening, right? But at the end of the case, it turns out he was hallucinating because the lady who gave him tea, she mixed it with something called mad honey, right, which causes hallucinations, right? So he wasn't seeing paranormal things; he was hallucinating, right? So that was the twist. But however, there's another twist where it turns out there may be something paranormal going on, right? But it doesn't really tell you, so it's really left up to you to decide what was paranormal and what was hallucination.
That's kind of good writing.
It's a really good flick. I really liked it. It's called A Murder in Venice. Paul, you might like it. Cam, I think you'll like it.
Oh, I like these little twisty movies.
Out of the 3 movies I just talked about that I've seen, I really recommend A Murder in Venice. It's not in the theater anymore, but it should be on streaming soon.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it will be. We'll give it some run.
But yeah, the creator, great visuals, but outside of that, it doesn't have anything much. Saw, it's a goofy flick. It's just goofy to me.
Okay.
And A Murder in Venice, best movie out of the 3.
Saw's goofy. Exorcist, trash, apparently, maybe.
This Exorcist was going to be really shit. The reason why I say that because the original mom who played in the original Exorcist, I didn't know she was still alive. She hasn't done anything since. But I'm looking forward to see how this is.
Well, no, you gotta understand. The reason I'm saying I think it's stupid and it sucks is because of my perspective
I know.
as of a Christian. From an entertaining perspective, yeah, I could see it doing fine. Just purely from the form of entertainment. It's just I don't find those things entertaining anymore.
I just don't watch horror flicks like that.
No, because you're not missing anything. Although murder mysteries are, I think I'm sorry.
There's a difference
No,
between
murder mysteries are not horror. They can be, but they're not. It's its own subclass.
I've seen enough what's it, Wild Things and Cruel Intentions and all these little crazy murder mystery whodunit movies to kind of suffice, but I got you.
But enough of me talking. I think they want to hear the voice of Paul. Paul, speak to the people.
Well, I can elaborate on certain things you said that, what your beliefs are. Other than that, I would just go with shock. I'm still trying to keep, seem like they're trying to keep it original. And when I saw the actual lady was playing, I'm like, oh, she's still alive. I didn't know she was, because she haven't done anything since.
My question for you is it like a cinematic universe? Are they connected? So it's a new movie, just original characters.
It's a new movie, just one original character.
Okay.
So is it so? So when we talked about this with what's it? Was it Scream or one of these ones that y'all were watching? And no, was it
No, we was watching that. I don't think we was watching that.
I don't know if it was Scream or one of these movies where y'all watching where it had the original cast and y'all said it was trash.
No, I think it was either Scream or Michael Myers.
Michael Myers. It might have been Michael Myers. And it had the original cast and it was all trash. And I was like, so my question is, just because the original cast is there and it could be connected to the original, will that automatically make it good because it's connected to the original in some sort of fashion?
To a degree, maybe. We don't know. It's not to say we got to see it first.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But let's keep going a little forward.
But I want to spin the block. I mentioned something earlier about one of the movies you saw, which is about the creator, and it's talking about artificial intelligence.
Now, the existence of this movie is to probably get people used to and more comfortable with the idea of AI. The problem with that is that artificial intelligence will never exist. But people, you might hear me say that, and you say, well, Victor, that's a pretty bold claim. You work at Walmart. What on earth do you think you're talking about? What I mean is that artificial intelligence will never be intelligent because there'll always be a human running it. It'll never be its own thing. It'll always be supported by a human being. And AI will only be able to say what the inputs are put in by a person. And AI will only be able to do what a person allows it to do. It's not real in the sense of it's artificial, but by no means is it intelligent.
So you had me a couple of days ago. You had me watch a couple of things, and it was kind of caught my attention, but for a completely different reason. So you were telling me like, yo, Cam, you gotta watch this thing about this AI girlfriends and stuff. Artificial intelligence girlfriend. I was still trying to wrap my head around that whole concept. I was like, how you gonna have an artificial intelligent girlfriend? Because artificial and intelligence is kind of oxymoron in itself. And let's say you took out the intelligence part, so you're gonna have an artificial girlfriend. You got an intelligent girlfriend. I don't know about an artificial girlfriend, but apparently you can have that too.
Yeah, you can pick. Okay, you got 3 words here. You can only pick 2.
Exactly. I mean, apparently, intelligent girlfriend is probably the best of the 3. I would imagine.
Yeah, the problem is if she's intelligent, she won't say. That's a joke.
That's a fact.
It's kind of a, sometimes.
I'm sorry if I hit a chord with somebody.
It's like,
no, you didn't hit it with Cam.
No, you didn't hit it with me. You got the right one for that. You just don't want me to go down that line of conversation right now.
Anyway, before I cut you off, sorry, what were you going
on? So AI girlfriend. So I guess they got to the point where people are coding programs to basically create themselves a girlfriend or a certain, could be a boyfriend too. I heard a story where a girl created, had the same algorithm that created a boyfriend that was based upon somebody who had passed away, and they took all of his information and recreated it so it could kind of last forever, quote unquote. Kind of in that vein, but a little bit deeper.
You know what reminds me of? Do you guys remember the movie? I think this was it Joaquin Phoenix? I want to say.
Joaquin Phoenix?
The movie Her?
Kind of like that.
Was that Joaquin Phoenix?
I think that was Joaquin Phoenix. You might be right on that. I have to double check that. I have to look into it.
But you know what movie I'm talking about, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's like this. It's like this. What we're talking about.
Right.
Except what we're talking about is so much worse because it'll never happen like that movie.
Yeah, but to me it was crazy. It was like it goes into the lengths of what people would do to have a relationship. But the direction I was going was not really in the artificial intelligence. I mean, because don't get me wrong, the science behind it is kind of like, okay, that's intriguing enough, that the ability to kind of code and get the science behind it. I can understand that, and I can kind of like rock with the science behind it. It's just the why behind it.
So okay, so what you're fixated on is the girlfriend part.
Yeah, it's like, to me, it's so much deeper than them being able to do it, because their whole thing was that, well, they were, people was like, well, they were able to do this, create basically a robotic type person, quote unquote, love doll, as you will, that actually has some sort of personality, that has a personality to kind of mimic a person's thought process, not it. Hey.
We be in this era where we start messing with dolls and stuff artificial.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's what this article is about. We're at this era. We're there.
I think.
And the thing is, it was crazy. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you, but
no worries.
There was we were there to a degree, like in small forms, but now you're at the point where you're actually giving these dolls a name. At first it was like, oh, my dog's name is Sally, based upon one of the little exes that they had, or it's named Jennifer, based off Jennifer Lopez, or whatever it may be. But now you're giving these dolls a personality. And now you could basically create that personality with their typing algorithm, like how they would type, with their response algorithms, meaning that, well, they sound like the person who they wanted to be. So if you wanted a doll to sound like Jennifer Lopez, ultimately, if you could capture her sound, you could recreate that in a doll and have that for yourself. And that's kind of where you are, because it's like, but the science behind it is like crazy. Not to respect the science half of it, but the kicker is, look how much length that you're going to get a doll.
Now, here's the thing that kills me, is that the sadness is people don't realize that we are, it's not if, we're in it right now, we are living in a cybernetic nightmare. No, I'm not saying we're living in a simulation. What I am saying, though, is that we are living in an age where we don't know what we're doing with technology. What do I mean by that? Ethically speaking, we don't know what we're doing with it, because it's growing way faster than our morals can adapt to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's you're not, you can't see us right now, but technology's here. Here we are still morally about, right? They're still trying to regulate the internet and what it should really be like. Because they're trying to see, well, how much access should it really be? Because right now, it's still kind of like the Wild West on there. They've regulated it a lot, but it's still...
I think that
it's still pretty free-form. What do I mean when I say regulated? I mean, like, well, what can and can't be seen? Like, what is considered adult? What can people have access to? What should be blocked off? What should be accessible to the public? Stuff like that. And because the internet's not that old, man.
It's not that old. It's only about, 25, 20...
And we're in the internet's been around for about 25 years now. About 30 years now, and now we already have the conundrum of literal cybernetic prostitution.
Yeah.
Fast as it's rising, it is falling apart.
But you said something. You said something important. It's like technology we're really high, but morally we're low, and our morals haven't caught up to the tech. I don't think that's the answer. I think the answer is we had the tech catch up to where we morally are.
You know what? Actually, yeah.
Yes. I mean, I'll get you back in.
Yeah.
So the tech, morally, we've always been the same. I hate to say it, we haven't grown morally. We've actually gotten worse morally.
Actually, let me jump in here. Tag in.
Tag.
Okay. No, you're absolutely right. I may have misspoken. Thinking about it now. Okay. Referring to the Bible, as we always should, in all things and everything. Referring to the Bible here, ever since Adam sinned, the human race is fallen. It's called the fall, not the fell. It's not over, because Christ doesn't come back yet. We are still falling. We are actively getting worse as a species. If you don't believe that, literally just go online for about an hour and you'll see how bad it really is. But Cameron is right. It's not that we can't catch up to tech. It's that we got tech to catch up with us. What we're seeing is just merely a reflection of a dead human heart. What we're seeing here is fallen humanity, right? A heart that hates God, hates His laws, and worst of all, hates His word, which is His Son, right? It wants to live for itself. What does it want but pleasure? And what does it find pleasure in but death, which is sin, right? And that's what we're seeing with all this. That's what a lot of this is. It's murder, it's immorality, it's theft, it's stealing, it's blaspheming.
Right, and it's to the point, and
it's hellish.
Right, and it's to the point where morally, it's just more presented to us. So before, when you did immoral things, it was kind of done in the dark, meaning that, well, somebody was to kill somebody, it wasn't shown on. It may get a national TV thing, maybe, but it wasn't shown. It wasn't regular.
People used to have morals.
Right, because no,
not morals. Shame. They used to have shame.
No, the tech wasn't there. Nobody had access. Nobody had access to actually see the immorality. Because of social media, now people want to put that immorality on display. Does that make sense? They want to show that, now I'm a thug. Goes back to what we were talking about earlier. At first, you couldn't show that you were a thug, because nobody's walking around with cameras showing that I'm robbing people on a regular. Now, you go into a store and go run into a shopping plaza and take a whole bunch of purses and stuff and run out of there. It's shown. It's on regular TV, regular, day-to-day basis. It's normal. It's known. The thing behind that is that our tech is now catching up. And now that the tech is catching up, now you're just seeing people for what they really are. You crazy, sex dolls, I hate to say it in this term, but it's basically what this is. Sex dolls has been played for a long period of time.
Oh, yeah, dude, like, ancient times even.
Yeah, they've been for a long period of time. But it wasn't known, it wasn't regular, because you couldn't just put it on display. And the reason why people put it on display, because it's like, if I'm like this, there's got to be some other people like this. So I want people to wallow in where I am, and wallowing in where I am, it's easy to just put it on the internet. Why the internet exists. The internet didn't exist to make us better. The internet existed to two things. Well, really one thing. To accelerate what people were, and to give us more information about it.
Okay, so it was to exalt the shameless.
Basically, what did the internet do? I mean, what did the internet take away? The internet took away us reading books. It took away us interacting face to face with a person, because a lot of times where you have to actually sit in a class and actually talk with people and interact with people, now you don't have to. The internet took that away, right?
Yeah.
So the internet took away the fact of us doing book research. for us, we can just look at the internet. We didn't have to rely upon other people to get the information, but we do rely upon other people for the social aspect, because now, as far as like the learning portion of things, we didn't have to worry about learning stuff because learning was at our disposal. The social aspect, when we had that at our disposal before, that was taken away. And now you got this, robots and internet and algorithms substituting for personal interaction.
Now, I could hear somebody cry, but it has allowed us to connect. It has allowed us to make communities. Yes. For all the wrong reasons.
Well, it allows...
In the sense of, okay, we live in an age where practically anything and everything can be a fetish. It's quite disgusting. It's very disgusting, actually. Vile. It's like dog vomit. I say this because before the internet, most likely what happened was people liked something weird that they shouldn't have, right? And they knew it was weird, and they probably grew out of it as they got older. Hopefully. Nowadays, if a kid or a young man or girl likes something weird that's not normal, they look it up on the internet, and what do you know? They find themselves in a community of similar people. Instead of growing out of what is weird and plainly wrong, they develop it. They grow it. And instead of getting rid of the tumor, it has now gotten worse.
They wear it like a badge of honor.
Yes. Yes, I'm talking to you, Curtis. That's what it is. It's a sickness.
Yeah. But you wear it like, oh, it's cool to be a furry. It's cool to be... No, it ain't. It's cool to have a girlfriend who is a robot or a love doll that has a personality of somebody who you could never, ever, ever date. That's what this AI girlfriend thing really got to me. It's like, dude, have we got to the point where we don't have the social skills to talk to nobody anymore, to interact with somebody, to have a conversation piece, to find a significant other one way or another? I was like, dude, I know it's tough, and I know what I kind of got out of it was, is it because the expectations in relationships are so upside down?
Of course.
Because there's a lot of girls who think that they're so much higher, or they want so much lofty expectations, and then they see it on the internet, you see it on TikTok all the time. Well, I want a guy who makes 6 figures. I want a guy who's 6'3". I want a guy who's like, this personality or look this way in the gym. But see, their expectations are too high, and these guys see this like, I'm not going to ever be 6'3". I'm always going to be 5'10" and some change. I'm always going to be a $140. I'm not going to make $100 million. I'm probably going to be good for maybe 45, which is good, which is solid money, by the way. But the expectations are too high. But then the guys had the expectation was, well, I want a girl who's, 5'5", 36, 24, 36, always made up, always done at all times. The expectations are crazy. So isn't the point of there's no middle ground where we can bridge the gap? It's gotta be, because there's too many single people out here for it to get to this point.
What we're seeing here is the end result of just nationwide porn addiction.
And it goes both ways.
Well, yeah,
it goes
that's what I'm not talking about.
It goes to guys and girls alike.
Well, when I say that, I wasn't just singling out men here. Women are greatly affected by it as well.
Hold on, guys. Let me just elaborate for a minute on that topic. We live in a day era where people can't interact with certain people, so like you said, can they find the next best thing? But and Vic, I'm not taking anything away from you said it perfectly. It is a sin on that, it's a reflection of the bottom of God, but it's so hard out there to try to be in a relationship or get in a relationship because everybody has so much predicament or politics or what certain people they should be like. So many people live in a lot of things, what I call, or what was told, people live in fantasy land a lot, which that means they fantasize or trying to be this be with this person that they want to be, or she's trying to be with this person that's a 9 out of 10, you probably only both sides won't end up with nothing, and they feel disappointed. That's why you see a lot. That's why there's a lot of single people. But like you said, we said just 1,000 times a day. Rejection, people over rejection. I mean, it happens. It happens. But at the same time, you shouldn't go out and purchase. So I mean, I tell people, you do what you want to do with your money. Who am I to judge? I've done some things I'm not proud of, but you shouldn't be able to. You should not be going out purchasing this product just to say, I want something to make me. And I'm gonna keep it talking, make me feel good, or be, just to be around something that does something.
It shouldn't. Well, the thing is, it shouldn't substitute. It shouldn't substitute you trying to go out and find a significant other to be with. And the problem is that people are so afraid of rejection. Their expectations is too high, or like you said another point. Sometimes their fantasy is, I want to be with Beyonce. Beyonce is a married woman. You're not going to be with her. So your expectation has to be is, I gotta find somebody else. But they want Beyonce. They want her voice type, they want her look, they want that stuff. So these fools get to the point where they want to create a doll that looks like her, sounds like her, responds like her, interacts like her. It may not necessarily be Beyonce. It can be somebody as simple as your modified porn stars. I ain't gonna say like porn stars per se, but your e-girls, something like that.
I'll do one worse. Fictional characters.
Or fictional characters. We talked about that too. No, what I mean by fictional character, I mean to the point was they'll take a video game character. I want my girl to be like Chun-Li from Street Fighter. Thick thighs, Asian, the long hair. And so but they fantasize about that because in real life, that's what they're trying to look for, a person who's similar to that. But they know they can't obtain it. So they substitute that. So they said that, well, I'm the nerdy dude who can't really get that. I don't really make a lot of money. So they'll put all their effort into creating this doll and creating this girlfriend and creating an algorithm to type this up, to type a program up, to put this into the doll, to make this doll feel and respond and be lifelike. The kicker behind that is what kills me about this whole situation. Here's what kills me. You put all this effort into a doll. If you put even a third of that effort into any female, you're probably going to get that.
What's crazy?
And that's what kills me.
Well, one of the things about it is one of the reasons why single people are in such abundance is because relationships are hard work.
Of course.
They are. No, hold on. Let me go off. Let me go off a second here. But they're very hard work. They are not easy. They take a lot of effort. This is a whole other human being we're talking about, right? That you are intimate with, married. That's what anytime you hear me talk about relationships like this, I'm referring to marriage.
Of course, you got it.
But people nowadays don't like hard work. No. That's one of the reasons why the AI business appeals to them, because it's a yes bot. It's literally yes man in New Vegas.
Yes, I get it. But you put in all the hard work to create it. So you can't tell me you're about that. I don't want to work hard. You worked hard for that. You work hard to create it. You work hard to get that money to get it. Them things ain't cheap. That's a $10,000 to $15,000 operation. That's like, to a lot of people, that is a third of a year of their salary. So you can't tell me that you don't. Well, I don't want to work for it. You just invested $12,000 to $15,000. You could have bought yourself a car. You could put your down payment on a house, but you're gonna put $15K into an artificial intelligence girlfriend and tell me, well, I don't want to work for it?
I think they'd rather spend money than emotions.
Put in the work. You already put in the work.
I'm not justifying. I'm just saying.
No, I know. I get it. No, it's like, dude.
You don't. I tell people this. You don't get shut down. You don't get shut down. You just gotta know how to say, okay, well, you know what? It's a learning experience for me. maybe this one more time, but maybe the next time it may not be with this person, but it might be with another.
No, but you gotta understand.
But you know, people is so much addiction out there, Cam, is it? Because you see this all the time. Hell, I see this all the time. But it's like, you know, now we're coming to the point now, if I can't find a true love or I can't find somebody who's going to make me feel good,
No, I
go to the next step.
Oh no, factual. I get that and I understand that. But where is going to be the turning point where you're going to say that I'm going to turn the corner and I'm going to get back on the market? So you're going to wait until what? Let's say you're 25. What, you're going to wait till you're 30? So you're going to lose 5 years messing around where you're putting work into other aspects into a relationship. If you're just going to throw away 5 years because I'm afraid or I'm going to get rejected, you're going to throw away 10 years, you're going to throw away 20 years. So you're going to throw away all this time to put towards something that is not real? That's really what we're talking about?
Now, this all goes back to the Bible, as all things do. Because what we're witnessing here is desperate, sad, broken people who want fulfillment in their lives, and sadly, they will never find it outside of Christ. That's the problem. They try to fill it with everything but Christ.
Right.
You know, whether it be drugs, sex, material, clothing, jewelry, money, gold. They try to fill that gap with everything but Him. Only He can fill it. But they don't want Him. They want anything but Him, and that's the tragedy of all this. They are forsaking and ignoring and choosing what is perishable and sinful over what is righteous, living, and everlasting. I mean, let me tell you, dear listener, if you want fulfillment in your life, if you want actual life to your life, give up your life. Accept the life of Christ. Read your Bible. If you don't have a Bible, get one. Download one on the internet. Read the Bible. Read any translation, NIV, KJV, CEV, NSAB, LSB. That's